All right, we can test. Yeah.
And I don't believe in reform, I believe in rebuild.
What side are you going to be on?
Minneapolis isn't just a city, it's a front line, a place where protest met power and where the future is still up for grabs. In 2020, the whole world looked here, but now, in 2025, most people are watching. That's exactly when it matters most. This race isn't just about politics, it's about trust, leadership, and what comes after the cameras leave. 6 candidates want to lead the city forward, but the question isn't who's running, it's who's ready.
Republican, but I am a Republican. Yeah. Or a conservative, whatever. Constitutional conservative, all the labels is a problem.
Yeah, I'm a proud Democrat here in the city of Minneapolis.
I am a Democrat.
I started as an independent and with the Ford Party a year ago, and I decided to go back to my original party of Democratic DFL. It's called the Democratic Farmer Labor Party, which is the Democratic Party.
I've always been someone, as a young person, interested in politics and governance. From the age 7, 8, 9, 10, I've always watched every Democratic and RNC convention on TV. I've never missed a presidential or vice presidential debate. When I was in junior high, I watched the Iran-Contra Ollie North trial on TV.
I was born and raised in Richfield, Minnesota, which is just south of Minneapolis. And I grew up going to public school, and then in 6th grade I was pulled out. I was the only person in my family to be pulled out of public school and sent to private school, where I saw a difference in experience and a difference in the folks that were occupying in that building and what it looked like.
There were 2 things that happened at age of 16. I went to something called the Future Scientist Program at Jackson State University in Mississippi. And 2 weeks after that, I went to American Legion Boys State for the state of Mississippi. When I went to Boys State, I was talking about issues about people's life, and that resonated with me.
I was homeless, and I was molested as a child and had a child.
Affordable housing is kind of like a game of musical chairs. What happens is there's 9 chairs and 10 people going around them, and then the music stops and everyone tries to sit down, and someone with a broken foot is the last one standing and they're left standing. People are like, oh yeah, you didn't get a chair. Like, you have a broken foot, it's hard right now. And my response is like, it's not about their foot, it's about the lack of chairs.
I personally don't believe we have a housing problem. If you are a functioning person, there are services out here that make sure you can have a place to stay, whether that's a shelter or halfway houses or government assistance and programs that help you find the job. That stuff is there already.
Now, the reason I say this is one of the most important issues, because it is so foundational to how all of us are going to exist and thrive in this city. That is, if you are stably housed, you are much more likely to get and keep a job. You're much more likely to go to school and learn. You're much more likely to, if you need special help, you need some kind of health care treatment, you are much more likely to go to your doctor if you have a stable house. All of the things that it takes to set you up to succeed, you need a safe, affordable place to live.
Because I was unhoused, I understand we need to work on our veterans first, our seniors, and then our youth. 2 encampments that I have, they used to be physically on Lake Street, but now I have purchased RV from Facebook, and I have purchased, my neighbor has a tiny house in his backyard, so I rent that. And these, why I have two is because I have girls and I have boys.
We have got to tend to everyone's fundamental dignity. When I talk about housing, I'm getting at that important value that I think has been missing.
But housing isn't the only thing breaking down in Minneapolis.
Shots fired here in the park.
Deadly shooting. So this is what unfolded at Boom Island Park.
Y'all don't do it because we want everybody safe, and you all ignore.
Keep on blaming George Floyd. Mr. Floyd died 5 years ago. Get over it. People used to feel safe in the streets of Minneapolis. We have to bring more officers.
It starts with leadership. Leaders set a vision and they set expectations. I think that's what's been missing.
Why would you give $4 million to so-called violence interrupters when I'm going to see you go back to the police department? Why aren't you spending $4 million on recruitment or better, something? Why are you giving $4 million to nonprofits to hire just regular people to walk around the street to act like they're de facto police officers?
I left my corporate law career after George Floyd was murdered because I wanted to be a part of the solution. I wanted to build something. I was just talking to my barber the other day who's on the north side, and he's like, I don't see police officers walking around our streets and hanging out. I see them driving by, I see them pulling people over and then getting back in their car and driving away. And he's saying, he said, I'm not even saying I want a officer with a gun walking into the barbershop and hanging out, but what if he was a part of the community in the way, or she was a part of the community in the way where they came in here and hung out and talked to us. Maybe when they don't have a gun on their hip, maybe when they're just getting to know the community.
I'm going to model it. I'm going to model it. I'm going to tell you what I want to do. I'm going to tell everybody in the city what I want to do. And then I'm going to come out there and let you ask me questions. I'm going to tell you what I've done. When I fail, you're going to point and say, you failed. And I'm going to stand right there and let you tell me where I failed and say to you how I'm going to make good. I want to be held accountable. And so I'm going to model that for the chief of police. I'm going to model that for the commissioner.
The last 5 years was difficult for us. Our children has gone through so much trauma in the last 5 years. They watched multiple people die at the hands of officers. Then they were forced to stay at home. Then they was forced to learn at home. And they lost the connection of being around someone.
If you listen to the other candidates, they're all pretty much saying the same thing. Taxes, more regulation and restrictions on citizens, no accountability for corruption and fraud, and they're all pretty much saying the same thing.
If you're talking about anyone other than the current mayor, everyone else left in this race has not been in city government before. And I think that makes the race unique.
This is why coaches of professional teams get let go. This is why CEOs of corporations get let go. If they don't meet what they said they were going to do, they have to go.
Are you saying that about the mayor?
I'm saying it about the mayor. I'm saying it about the mayor. If we had his record, if this were if this was a hospital, if this was a corporation, we'd be saying we need new leadership. And I think we need new leadership. We cannot and we should not have a third term of our current mayor.
The mayor disrespected the police officers. As a person who has been in that field, you disrespected our police officers. Let me be real for you. Jacob hasn't led this city for the last 4 years. He has hired tokens. I'm going to tell you that. He has hired tokens because he has hired tokens to do his job.
The incumbent and current mayor has always had a huge pool of resources and finances that have come along with that position or with his position. And so as that pile of cash is sitting there, that you're competing against the ability to spend money over and over and over and over again in a city when you're trying to get your voice out. I'm excited about a grassroots campaign that is rooted in people saying, hey, I want to have 10,000 people giving $5 and using their voice in that way compared to 5 people giving $10,000, right? That is a better value in this system and how we can really think about running the city. One that is run for someone who is hearing all of the voices of the city and making sure that they're working for those individuals.
The current administration has failed in a couple of places. It has failed, I think, to cast a vision. You have to take the risk to say where you want to go. You can't simply just sort of live off of some things you accomplish, a few ideas you did.
Some great news in that Minneapolis has passed 600 officers for the first time in years. We have more and more officers that are coming on wanting to be the change.
You've got to tell us where you want to go. And ever since George Floyd was murdered, I have gotten the sense that this city is stuck. And our mayor has not really forecast like this is where we want to go. And sometimes that also means that we're being reactive. We're reacting to things as they happen. Of course you're going to react, but we should have had some real vision for where we want to go.
DFL, let's go. The DFL is corrupted.
The Democratic Farmer Labor Party, or DFL, has shaped Minneapolis politics for generations, but not everyone feels represented.
I have complaint to the DFL about not getting the delegate list. The delegate list is suddenly being changed right before a caucus to shift to make sure the right candidate they want in office.
I mean, if that's not corruption, I don't know what is. Since Minneapolis is so, I would say, protected by sort of the Democratic power structure in the media, they're able to get away with it.
But this isn't just about parties. It's about power and who gets to wield it in Minneapolis. Ask 10 people in this city what's broken, and you'll get 10 answers. But the pain, that part's the same.
Jazz for mayor. Jazz for mayor. Let's go. Jazz for mayor. Jazz for mayor. Jazz for mayor. Jazz for mayor.
At the end of your term, if you're elected, what do you want people to feel and the city to look like?
I love this question. I think that is what I want everyone to think about for their candidate for mayor. I want them to know that this is going to be the place where everyone feels safe, regardless of their backgrounds or who they are or this type of lifestyle they lead. I want them to know that if when the sun is out and the weather is great, or when it's snowing outside, you are going to be outside in our park system. You're going to be experiencing the city in the best way.
I want it to look beautiful. I've been to New Orleans, and if you've ever been to New Orleans in Mardi Gras, they make a mess of the city. But by 2 o'clock in that morning, everybody sleep, that city turns sparkling clean every morning, every day of that week.
I want them to know that downtown is going to be thriving and have different hubs that aren't, when you open Nextdoor or like a platform that's talking about neighborhoods, it's talking about how competitive and how great the other ones are compared to each other, not about the crime that's happening in them. It's going to be about how downtown East is has better restaurants than the North Loop, or how the North Loop is better to live in than Mill City, and back and forth. That thriving like competition of success is what I want.
This is a mission moment. Mission moments are built by people working together and bringing the very best that they got. It's not this one person saying, I got all the answers. I'm not a savior, I'm not a king, I'm not an answer man. But what I'm going to do is come in and say, I'm bringing you along. And this, I'll connect this way. This is ministry is what brought that to me. Because I don't care what anybody else tells you. There's only one job a minister has. It's one job. One. It is to equip other people to do their ministry. And so right now, what I'm trying to do is to equip all the people who love this city, who want to live in this city, who want this city to thrive and be successful. I'm telling you now, I'm coming to get you to help us do that.